So i-explain ko lang kasi yung nakasurvive kasi ngayon sa English Bibles natin is only body, soul, and spirit. However, there are actually subtle energy bodies that constitutes the soul and the spirit. So as much as possible, I'll just try to explain this in a way na madali lang siyang intindihin. Sana yan. Okay. Okay. So, um, this is from the book Pneumaticon by Bishop Louis Kaiser. And Bishop Louis Kaiser is actually an expert when it comes to the pre-Christian teachings of Yeshua or Jesus. So there are 7 bodies. So the physical body, which is the flesh, the mortal flesh, we call it basar in Jewish. So it is the mortal flesh, meat, or the physical body that decomposes after death. So we have, so yung first body is the physical body, and the 6 bodies after basar, they're actually the subtle gradations of the soul and the spirit. So the first soul within our body is, we call it the nephesh. So this is the mortal personality or the lower animal nature of our body. So basically, this subtle etheric body survives death for about 40 days and dissolves back into its subtle elements in a second death. Ganito kasi yan. The nephesh is our soul personality, and after our physical death, this survives for 40 days approximately. So if you are familiar with the Catholic tradition, di ba meron tayong padasal for 40 days after a person dies? It's not because we want the person to go to heaven, but it's because we want to, tell the soul personality of the person. If the soul personality is still here in this world, we tell him or her that, you need to cross over. Because sometimes there are people who have tragic deaths na hindi nila alam na patay na sila, or hindi pa nila matanggap na patay na sila. That's why they stay here in this world. And they are connected here because of negative emotions. So doon sila kumukuha ng energy to stay longer than 40 days sa negative emotion. So dito na natin nakikita yung nasa horror movies, no? Yung mga um, yung mga sanib-sanib, mga ganon, yung may mga nagmumulto, and things like that. So this is the nephesh. Now, so there is a higher soul, or there is a higher spirit than nephesh, and it is called ruach. Now, ruach, this is the part of the soul that actually creates the nephesh. Again, this generates the nephesh. Explain ko lang ng konti. The Holy Spirit in Hebrew is the Ruach HaKodesh, which is Ruach kasi this is actually the matrix of creation. And this Ruach, this is the spirit that is released when the Nephesh disintegrates at the second death. This is an androgynous substance of the divine Olam. So ang Ruach, this is connected to a much higher soul, which is the Neshama. So it's quite a mouthful, so I hope you are following. So eto kasing Neshama, this is the soul that is incarnated at birth and survives death for purgatory or Gehenna and paradise or Pardes. So this is actually our immortal and divine body. So balik tayo ng konti sa Nephesh. Si Nephesh kasi, this is the soul personality. So for 40 days and 40 nights, this will dissolve if the Nephesh will not evolve, or if the Nephesh will not be able to sanctify itself. Because our earthly existence, our flesh actually sanctifies our Nephesh. So, di ba, based on our deeds and actions here in this world, this will either create a Nephesh, Elohim, or the godly soul, or this will become the Nephesh Elokit, or the Nephesh Elokit, which is the opposite of the godly soul. We call that the evil soul. So if during your earthly life, you will not be able to sanctify the Nephesh will dissolve after 40 days when you die. And then all the memories, all the memories that you have in your Nephesh will dissolve, and it will go into the Ruach. So nandito sa Ruach nakatambak lahat ng mga memories natin. So during the next incarnation, the ruach will generate a new nefesh for you that will be placed on a new basar or on a new body. So if you will not be able to sanctify your nefesh, if it will not become a nefesh Elohim, but will become a nefesh Elokit or the evil soul, then you will go on that cycle over and over again. However, if you will be able to sanctify your nefesh through your earthly existence, according to the Kabbalistic tradition, no, you will become a nefesh Elohim when you die when you experience physical death. After 40 days, when your nefesh dissolves, all the memories you have on that lifetime and from previous lifetimes will be integrated in the ruach, and then the neshama, your neshama, the soul or the godly soul that is within you will be activated. And when the nishama is activated, what will happen is that the nishama will become a body of your higher souls, which is the chaya and the yachida. So, these are the processes. So once a person reaches the level of neshama from sanctifying his nefesh, most likely though these people will be reincarnated back into the world, and they will become those saints, those yogis, and those spiritual masters that will teach us, kasi hindi pa na-finish yung purpose nila dito sa mundo. And then after that, this person who will be incarnated in this world will have will experience another, let's say, form of purification. This is the final purification. If you're familiar with the story of Jesus, which is very similar to the story of Prince Siddhartha Gautama, both of them meditated for 40 days and 40 nights. They have fasted, and then they were tempted by the devil. And then after 40 days and 40 nights, they have defeated the devil, and that's the time wherein they started gathering their disciples. And then, yun nga, they have fully integrated all these higher souls that is within them, and then when they die, they go to this realm of nothingness, and it is the realm of the Yechid, which is the monas, or the divine monad, which is nothingness, where nothing can be achieved anymore because it is nothingness. It is the fulfillment of an individual's existence here in this world. So yeah, that's just the overview. I just tried to explain it in, I think, 5 or 10 minutes. This was a very complex topic that was, taught to me by my spiritual teachers before. So what's the significance of this? So first of all, we need to understand that we are not human beings having a spiritual experience. Rather, we are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. So what does that mean? Lahat ng ginagawa natin dito sa mundong ito, there is a reaction, di ba? Yung kanina example ni Sis Ciara, no, about how we treat our kids, how we treat other people. Etong lahat ng ito, this all constitutes to our individual growth. And by recognizing this light that is within you, by recognizing these subtle energy bodies, the spiritual bodies within us, we are actually acknowledging that we are not human beings having a temporary spiritual experience. Rather, we are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. And the way we engage with others, this is actually very crucial, because this is being recorded in the collective unconscious. Yun nga, sabi kanina ni Sis Eileen, no? Si Carl Jung, a world-renowned psychoanalyst, he said that, or he proposed that all our memories as a species will be recorded in the unconscious mind, and he calls it the collective unconscious. At yun nga, sa explanation ko kanina, yung ruach natin, yung ruach kasi is an individualized matrix of creation that generates our nefesh, or our lower soul. Now, this is actually connected to the whole matrix of creation. Therefore, all our collective experiences will go to this database, which is the collective unconscious. And dito sa collective unconscious, no, dito madaming pain, madaming suffering. At the same time, madami ding magagandang bagay dito. So that's why, if babalik ako sa topic ko, na once we are grounded, once we are aware that we are not the body, but we are the soul or the spirit that is within the body, and that we are all connected and that we are all one, maybe we will stop, being harsh, maybe to our kids, maybe to others, to our girlfriends, to our boyfriends, or even to the strangers we meet in the street. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and I hope that you have learned something new today. And I hope may nakuha po kayo. If you have questions, please ask me later during our Q&A. Nang sa ganun, mas mabigyang linaw ko pa po yung mga hindi nyo po masyadong naintindihan. Alright? So, thank you, thank you. Okay, sige.
Hey, Frater, see you po. Good evening. Make sure ko lang po na tama po yung understanding ko. Ang sabi po kanina sa Ruach is nagkakaroon ng reincarnation pag godly yung soul. What if po kung evil yung soul? Mari-reincarnate ba siya at meron bang hangganan? Say for example, sa second life niya, hindi pa rin siya nag-learn, hindi purify yung soul niya.
Okay. Actually, etong Ruach, the Ruach kasi this is the para siyang matrix. Nasa Ruach kasi doon nasa-store yung mga information mo lahat since you are born into this world, not just in one lifetime but in your previous lifetimes as well. Eto kasi neshama, yung Ruach, yung nasa itaas is yung neshama. Ito yung tinatawag natin na godly soul. This will not be sanctified not unless the nefesh will be sanctified through the actions of our physical body. So the Ruach will generate nefesh over and over again, not unless we will activate the neshama. Okay, so yung question mo kasi, mari-reincarnate ka if godly yung soul mo. Actually, if your soul is still evil, or if you still haven't realized what you need to realize in different lifetimes, the Ruach will generate a new nefesh over and over again until you realize something, until you activate the nefesh. That's according to the Kabbalistic tradition. And once you have activated the nefesh or the godly soul, the next incarnation mo, the Ruach will generate a new nefesh for you. But once you get incarnated, you will have the memories of your past life, and you are this kind of saint. Yeah, you become a saint. Yung parang you're a saint or you're a prophet. Those notable figures in the Bible, even Jesus and all the prophets who stood before him, they were all these people who have awakened their neshama. So when they die, even their nefesh, these souls, their memory still remains, and they remain awake or alive in the heavens or in the higher realms, because there are actually several layers of heaven. So it's hard for me to explain everything, because in Kabbalah there are different universes, there are heavens and stuff. But kung sisimplehan lang natin, it's like that. So they are reincarnated into this world, but they have memories of their past lives, and then they are these wise men that has led humanity through time. That's according to the Kabbalistic tradition. So I hope that makes sense.
Hindihan ko po siya. Parang in a nutshell pala, pag hindi mo pa napopurify yung soul mo on this lifetime, talagang mari-reincarnate ka to really, do better.
Yes. Tulad nga ng sabi ni Brother Nards kanina, no? God kasi is like the sun. The sun shines not just for the good, but even for the bad and for the people in between. So we are given actually countless times. Actually, it's infinite. Not unless we realize that God is love, because the love of God kasi is this purifying fire. We always see that in the Christian text. We have this baptism of fire. First is your baptism of water, and then the baptism of fire. The baptism of water, this is wherein you accept, quote unquote, Jesus as your Lord and Savior. That's in the Christian context. But in the ancient Jewish Kabbalistic context, once kasi you submerge into water, it means you have this conscious you have a conscious understanding that you need to change your ways, you need to change your life. So tawag nila doon is mikve. That's where our Christian baptism was derived. So During mikveh, they will go into a river because it's living waters. You need to do mikveh in the living waters. So you need to be purified physically. And that will be the start of your spiritual journey. Now, once you embark on the spiritual journey, you will start experiencing the love of God, which is the purifying fire. So, kasi di ba, once you face the sun, mainit. So, meaning to say, kapag mag-shift tayo from being evil to being good, God will burn us. God will burn all that is impure about us until we get purified. Di ba nga, I don't know if you have experienced this or may kakilala kayo na, he was very evil before, but when he changed his ways, parang doon na nagsimula yung nagkamalas-malas na yung buhay niya. Imbis na bumalik ako sa Diyos, nagkamalas-malas na yung buhay ko. Actually, that is God's love. That is the purifying fire of God. And yun, in-interpret yan na 300 years after the time of our Lord and Master Jesus, that was interpreted as hell, which is an eternal torture or eternal punishment, where in fact it's not eternal punishment. It's actually just a punishment that is a very long period of time. The word used there is aionios, which is very long period of time. However, it was translated in our English Bibles as eternal. Yun yung nangyari. So hell became eternal instead of being a long period of time, because of course we are trying to purify the karmas or the hub, the klipot that we have gathered through countless lifetimes before. Okay? But yun nga, hindi tayo dapat matakot na, humarap sa Diyos, maging spiritual, and, follow the voice. Yun nga, sabi ni Frater Nards kanina, makinig sa voice of God within us. Kasi once you are directed to that path, there's no stopping to it. So, tuloy-tuloy na yan, chain reaction na yan. And yes, you will experience misfortunes. The saints in the Bible, or even after the time of the Bible, they have, especially Saint John of the Cross, he calls it the dark night of the soul. They have experienced countless sufferings because that is the purification process of your soul or your neshama. So once your neshama becomes, purified, it now becomes the nefesh Elohim, which sanctifies the no, I'm sorry. You are purifying your nefesh, and then it becomes a nefesh Elohim, and it will sanctify your neshama. So once it activates the neshama, your new spiritual body now is the neshama and not the nefesh. So in your next incarnation, according to the Kabbalistic tradition, you will become a saint or a yogi or a spiritual teacher or a advanced soul rather, that will bring wisdom to this world. So I hope that made sense.
Thank you po.
Okay.
Super helpful. Super insightful. Thank you.
You're welcome po.
Okay. Meron pa po ba tayong question for Father Joseph?
Yung kanina, yung topic po ni Brother Vivo Costavo, yung physical body. Kasi di ba yung body daw may water, fire, and air? So, kasi masyado po di ba malalim yung topic natin, very spiritual, since tayo pa ay nasa human being po. Kung po ang soul natin, di ba po, nandito tayo sa earth. Ngayon, hindi ba lahat ng kaluluwa or soul wala dito? Hindi, ang iba ay wala pa dito sa earth. And paano nagamit ang body, itong body na to, kung isipin natin body na kung saan kinuha at hinulma na sinabi sa Biblia na nagmula tayo sa ating ancestor, kasi nagbabasa din po ako ng Bible na si Eva at Adan at minold sa katawan ng galing sa lupa. Tama po. Kasi may elemento nga daw po tayo yung ating body. So, paano yung reincarnation uli na in your past life? Tapos nauulit lang uli. Paano mo mababago to para hindi na muli na maging negative? Paano mo ma-distinguish na yung susunod na future na maayos mo yung sarili mo? For example, ako po, yung past life ko, di ba po, hindi ko pa naman alam. So, nabanggit niya po dito yung malalaman yung nga, yung our body has, kasi sinulat po elemental energy, the divine energy, about the spirit, yung galing talaga sa divine creator, the spirit, kasi wala siyang element. So, paano mababago ko yung future ko na susunod para hindi na ako bumalik sa karmic ko? Po? Yun po.
Para kanino po siya?
Kahit kung sino pong pwede pong sumagot.
Kailangan po na may speaker po na sasagot, na may matumbok po tayo.
Sino po ba yung speaker niya? Si Brother Joseph?
Si Brother Joseph. Okay.
Opo. That's actually a very good question. That's a very common question po. Especially for those people who are embarking into the spiritual journey. And I also have the same question before when I was trotting in the spiritual path. Now, to answer that, actually, if you start listening to yourself, for example, if you start changing your ways and you start facing God, going to the right path, to what you think is right, you will start to understand yourself more. Yun nga sabi kanina ni Brother Nards, no? You will start to understand yourself more, and may mapapansin ka sa sarili mo na kailangan mong baguhin. Doon na magsisimula yung tinatawag natin na self-awareness. So once we have self-awareness, parang we will be looking at ourselves from a third person's perspective. What are the things that I need to change, no? What are, let's say, the actions, the habitual actions that I need to change perhaps in my life. At minsan din, makikita din natin yung previous karma natin. Though we are not 100% certain, ha? Kasi 'di ba, as I explained earlier, when we die, and if we have not if we have not if we have not sanctified the soul personality, which is the nefesh, we will die and all our memories from our previous lifetime will dissolve, tama? So how are we going to proceed in the next life kung wala tayong memories ng past life natin, di ba? The answer to that is that our memories are not 100% dissolved. Actually, all the memories, the karmic memories, will be in our energy bodies. It will be in our chakras. It will be there. So it will manifest as a karma in the next lifetime. So when we say karma, it came from the Sanskrit word for the word action. So karma means action. So it does not mean evil, but it's actually two. Merong siya, may good karma, dualistic terms na lang gamitin natin, may good karma and may bad karma. So we will realize in our present life that we have our skills, we have our talents, we have our gifts, tama? And we will also realize that we have also our weaknesses. We have our anong tawag nito? May mga limitations tayo. For example, some of us have, disabilities. So doon, extreme na yon. But yeah, we will know in this present lifetime if we are going to be mindful about ourselves, what are the things that I'm good at and what are the things that I need to improve on. So dyan tayo magsisimula. Dyan tayo magsisimula. And then it's slowly, it's a slow process. It's cultivation, and then doon na magsisimula yung sinasabi kanina nila Brother Andy at saka ni Brother Nards, na doon na magsisimula yung ating mga spiritual practices, meditation, and all this stuff. So parang magiging loop yan, magiging cycle yan. We are observing ourselves, tapos spiritual practice, and then we will see the result, observe ourselves again, and so on. Parang loop yan hanggang lalaki ng lalaki, and then we will have a more deeper realization about ourselves. Parang barina, no? Umiikot yan, papasok dito sa core natin, and we will slowly realize what are really the things that we need to fix in ourselves in order for us to be sanctified, no, or to be purified in a way. So yan kasi that's the process that I am doing, and that is also the process that I have been taught by my teacher, no? Self-observation and then spiritual practices. Paikot yan, paikot. So parang yan, parang wave, no? As it grows longer, parang lalakas yan ng lalakas ng lalakas. All right, so yeah, I hope that makes sense po, and I hope that answered your question.
Pero thank you po sa insights. Marami akong naisip. Kasi normally po yung yung mga nababasa mo about karma, reincarnation is halimbawa pag naging bad ka sa previous life mo, gagawin kang something lesser of a formly human, parang ganun. But this one is entirely different. So, thank you.
Actually, sagutin ko lang yan, no? Actually, yan kasi, naka-specified kasi yan for a specific religious tradition. So, especially in the East, in China, in Tibet, in India, there are different sects that, they have different also take on reincarnation. But if we go back to really like before the time of our Lord and Master Jesus, reincarnation kasi is a progressive process. You don't go back. You don't go backwards. So when you become a human, if you are really an evil human, you will be reincarnated as a human, but maybe your state of life is something very low. For example, this is hypothetical, but maybe in the future you will be born as taong grasa, or you will be born in a place where it's really uncivilized, but you will still be carrying all the karmas you have, even the good karmas. Just say for example, once may nakita akong isang bata na, alam mo yung bulag na nanlilimos sa daan, pero ang ganda ng boses. Napakaganda ng boses. So, with that, though we are not judging the person, but we might have an insight that maybe in the past, that person maybe has, developed that certain ability in his or her past life. However, maybe he or she did something in the past that cost him or her his eyesight. May dapat siyang matutunan in this lifetime without his or her eyesight. So, that's it. Again, you don't go backwards. That's at least according to our teachings, ha. Yun.